After I lost 50 pounds and got a promotion, my girlfriend of 3 years said, "Great, my work is done. You're finally good enough for my friends to meet." She then dumped me for a guy she'd been seeing. I just laughed. She is now being sued for defamation after I used my new good enough salary to hire the best lawyer in the city to deal with the lies she's been spreading about me. Sarah's getting served papers tomorrow at the mall where she works. Her store opens at 10 a.m. and my process server will be waiting. It's been 6 weeks since she tried to destroy my life with lies, and now she gets to face the consequences. Let me start from the beginning, because this whole situation is insane. I met Sarah 3 years ago at my friend Derek's barbecue. I was heavy back then, about 270 pounds on a 5'10" frame. Not massive, but definitely overweight. She was there with Derek's wife's sister. Seemed nice enough. We talked about hiking trails we both wanted to try. Should have been my first clue when she never actually wanted to do any of them. The relationship started pretty normal. We'd go out to dinner, see movies, typical stuff. I always insisted on splitting bills unless it was a special occasion like birthdays. She seemed fine with it at first. About 6 months in, the weight comments started. Maybe just get a salad this time, or we could walk instead of driving. Small stuff that got more frequent. When she bought me a gym membership for Christmas, I had enough. Told her straight up if my weight bothered her that much, she knew where the door was. She backtracked immediately, claimed she was just worried about my health. The thing is, I'd already been thinking about getting in shape. My job involves sitting at a desk all day and I was feeling it. Bad back, no energy, couldn't play basketball with the guys anymore. So I decided to make a change, but I made it clear to Sarah this was for me, not for her approval. Started hitting the gym at 5 a.m. before work. Changed my eating habits. Nothing extreme, just consistent. The weight started coming off steady. Lost about 10 pounds the first 2 months. That's when Sarah's behavior changed. She became obsessed with my fitness journey. Buying me workout clothes I didn't need. Trying to control my meal prep. Making these elaborate Instagram posts about our transformation when she hadn't stepped foot in a gym. I told her to cut it out. This was my journey, not hers. She could support me without taking credit for work she wasn't doing. She apologized, but the behavior continued. About a year in, I'd lost 30 pounds and things at work were going well. My boss mentioned a senior position opening up. Better pay, more responsibility. I started working harder, networking more, really pushing for it. Sarah hated that I had to go to after-work events, called them pointless, said I was choosing work over her. I explained these were important for my career, but she didn't care. She wanted me to skip them and go to clubs with her friends instead. I refused. That's when the real problems started. She became jealous and controlling, started accusing me of flirting with women at the gym, tried to go through my phone when she thought I was sleeping. I caught her once at 2 a.m. scrolling through my messages. Told her to get dressed and go home immediately. Made it clear if she did it again, we were done. She cried, apologized, blamed it on insecurity because I was getting too attractive. I didn't buy it but gave her one more chance. Stupid move on my part. Then came the financial boundary pushing. She wanted access to my bank accounts to help plan our future. I laughed and said, absolutely not. My money was my money. Even if we got married someday, I'd want separate accounts. She didn't like that answer, but I didn't care. 8 months ago, everything came to a head. I'd hit my goal weight of 220 pounds, down 50 total. The same week, I got the promotion. Senior position with a 40% raise plus bonuses. I was feeling great about life. That Friday, I was at home cooking dinner to celebrate. Sarah walked into my kitchen and said something I'll never forget. "Great, my work is done. You're finally good enough for my friends to meet." I actually laughed because I thought she was joking. She wasn't. She went on this whole speech about how she'd invested in me, how she'd built me up, and now that I was finally presentable, she could move on to someone who matched her lifestyle better. Then she told me she'd been seeing Trevor for 2 months, some trust fund kid with a boat. I just stood there stirring pasta sauce while she explained how she'd earned the right to upgrade after fixing me, like I was some broken car she'd restored. I turned off the stove, looked her in the eye, and said, "Get out of my house." She tried to backtrack, explain more, even tried to touch me. I just started packing her stuff in garbage bags. When she realized I was serious, she switched tactics. "You'll never find someone like me." "That's the goal," I replied. She left within an hour. I blocked her on everything that night and figured that was the end. If only. 2 weeks later, my phone started ringing nonstop. Friends, coworkers, even my sister were asking if I was okay. Turns out Sarah had gone nuclear on social media. According to her posts, I was abusive, controlling, and had cheated on her with multiple women from the gym. She claimed I was on steroids, that my promotion was from sleeping with my boss, and worst of all, that I'd given her an STD. That last one was especially stupid since I'd just had a full physical for my new insurance. Completely clean bill of health. But that didn't stop her from spreading the lie. I screenshot everything. Every post, every comment, every message someone forwarded to me. At first, I figured she'd burn herself out, but it got worse. She started contacting my company's social media pages, leaving reviews about their toxic culture. She emailed my boss directly with concerns about my character. She even called the gym trying to get me banned, claiming I was harassing her there. That's when I decided to fight back. Use some of that raise money to hire a good lawyer. Not the best in the city, but someone solid who specialized in defamation cases. My lawyer took one look at the evidence and said we had a strong case. The STD claim alone was defamation per se. Add in the workplace interference, and we were looking at significant damages. We sent a cease and desist letter giving her 15 days to remove all posts and stop contacting my employer. Her response? She posted about the letter, calling it intimidation tactics from an abuser. Perfect. More evidence. While my lawyer prepared the lawsuit, I found out more through mutual friends. One of them, Monica, felt bad about the whole thing and reached out. She told me Sarah had been bragging in their group chat about destroying me because I didn't beg for her back. She'd actually written out her plan to get me fired. Monica wasn't comfortable with it and saved screenshots. When I asked why she was helping me, she said Sarah had done similar things to other exes and she was tired of watching it happen. I gave everything to my lawyer. We filed the lawsuit exactly 20 days after the cease and desist letter. Defamation, interference with business relations, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The same week we filed, I had to do something about the credit card situation. See, I'd given Sarah a card on my account for emergencies only. When I checked the statements after the breakup, I found charges at restaurants and bars I'd never been to. Cross-referencing the dates with her social media, they were clearly dates with Trevor. I filed a fraud report with the credit card company and provided evidence that we'd broken up before those charges. They reversed them and opened an investigation. I also filed a police report, though I doubted anything would come of it. Sarah must have gotten word about the lawsuit because the calls started immediately. Different numbers, crying voicemails, texts from apps I'd forgotten existed. When I didn't respond, she sent her mother to my office building. I was in a meeting when security called up saying a woman was in the lobby claiming to be my mother-in-law and refusing to leave. I told them I wasn't married and to ask her to leave. When she wouldn't, they called the police. She left before they arrived. Then Sarah made another stupid move. Posted on Instagram that I was using my new money to silence her with frivolous lawsuits. She used my full name and employer. My lawyer was thrilled. More evidence of malice and refusing to stop the defamation even after being sued. Here's where it gets interesting. My lawyer filed for expedited discovery based on the ongoing harm. The judge agreed. We subpoenaed her phone records and social media accounts. What we found was worse than I thought. She'd been telling people we had an open relationship to cover her cheating. She'd been with Trevor for 6 months, not 2. She'd used my guest passes to bring him to my gym dozens of times. The credit card fraud totaled over $3,000. But the worst part? She'd been actively planning to break up with me for months, waiting specifically for my promotion to go through first. She wanted maximum drama and thought I'd be so grateful for her help getting in shape that I'd beg for her back. My lawyer says between the defamation, the provable damages to my reputation, and the credit card fraud, we're looking at mid-5 figures in damages minimum. Sarah works retail management and lives with her parents. She doesn't have that kind of money. That's when her parents hired her a lawyer. Not a great one from what mine tells me, but someone. They reached out about settling. I said I'd drop the lawsuit for a written apology posted on all platforms where she defamed me, admitting every lie, plus covering my legal fees. About $15,000 all in. They said they needed time to think. Meanwhile, I had to deal with work. My boss had been supportive, but HR needed documentation of everything for their files. They also increased security protocols after Sarah's mom showed up. The company takes threats seriously. The funny thing is, this whole mess actually helped my career. Word got around that I was handling a difficult personal situation professionally. Never brought drama to work, never let it affect my performance. My boss mentioned it during my review as an example of good judgment under pressure. I also started dating again. Met someone at a hiking group 2 months ago. She actually shows up for the 6 a.m. trails and pays for her own breakfast after. It's nice being with someone who has their own life and goals. Last week, Sarah's lawyer contacted mine again. They wanted to settle, but for less money. My lawyer countered with our original offer plus an additional $5,000 for the continued defamation after being sued. They agreed. The settlement included immediate removal of all posts, a written apology admitting the lies, payment of my legal fees, and a non-disparagement agreement. She'd also have to pay back the credit card fraud in installments. But here's the thing. She signed the settlement agreement and took down the posts, but hasn't paid anything yet. The agreement gave her 30 days to pay the legal fees and start the fraud repayment plan. It's been 35 days. So tomorrow, she gets served again. This time for breach of contract. My lawyer says this is actually better for us. We can go after wages, tax refunds, basically any money she gets until it's paid. The process server will hand her the papers at work, because that's the only address we have confirmed. Her parents' house didn't work out. They kept claiming she wasn't there. Her work address is public on her LinkedIn. Monica messaged me yesterday saying Sarah's been telling people I'm harassing her with lawsuits. Funny how defending yourself becomes harassment in her world. She also mentioned Trevor blocked Sarah months ago and is dating someone new. The irony is beautiful. She said I was finally good enough after losing weight and getting promoted. Now that promotion is funding the lawyer who's making her face consequences. The weight loss gave me confidence to not tolerate disrespect. Her project became her problem. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. she'll be served with breach of contract papers. Another lawsuit to add to her problems. Another set of legal fees she can't afford. All because she couldn't just break up like a normal person. My lawyer thinks she'll try to file bankruptcy to avoid payment. Joke's on her. Defamation judgments often survive bankruptcy, especially with malice involved. She'll be paying this off for years. I'm heading to the gym in an hour. Same routine that lost the weight, same discipline that got me promoted, the consistency she tried to take credit for but never understood. My girlfriend and I are doing a 10-mile hike this weekend, an actual hike on actual trails with someone who actually shows up. She jokes that she's glad Sarah released me back into the wild. I'm glad too. Sarah thought she was trading up. Instead, she traded a stable relationship for lawsuits, debt, and a reputation that follows her everywhere. Her social media is private now, but people still remember. Good luck explaining that to future boyfriends. All because she couldn't handle rejection. All because she thought I'd beg for someone who saw me as a project. All because she underestimated what happens when you attack someone who finally has resources to fight back. The best part? I'm not even angry anymore. I'm just tired of dealing with it. Tomorrow's service is just business. She breached a contract, so there are consequences. Simple, cause and effect. My phone buzzes. Text from my lawyer confirming the server will be at her store at 10 a.m. sharp. He's done hundreds of these and knows how to handle difficult people. Game time. Again, I check my banking app. Legal fees adding up, but still less than what she spent on dates with Trevor using my card. At least my money is going towards something useful now. She said her work was done after I lost weight. Turns out she was right. She worked hard to show me exactly what I don't want in a partner. Lesson learned. Invoice incoming. Again, time to hit the gym. These trails aren't going to hike themselves, and I've got a life to live while she deals with the consequences of her choices.